All right, guys, we're live for Keeping It Real Masterminds, our 11th episode. Really excited tonight to have special guest Matthew Ferry. And the name of the hangout tonight is How to Train Your Mind to Get More Deals. Basically, Matthew is a master at this stuff. So we're going to formally introduce him. If you don't know who I am, you're first viewing this hangout, I'm Jeff Manson, a Hawaii real estate broker, and also founder of Real Geeks, and my co-host is Frank Klesitz, and he's the CEO of Viral Marketing. And I'm going to let Frank go over how to get notified. If you didn't get an email, he'll go over that, and then I'm going to formally introduce Matthew, go over a few things, and we're going to get ripping because I'm really excited tonight.
Great. All right, Jeff. So, guys, just want to let you know that we really appreciate your feedback here on these events, putting them on. We're getting more and more traction, thousands of YouTube replays, and lots of people here on the events. Just want to let you know, if you go to keepingitreal.com, you can put your email address on the right. We won't spam you. You'll get email notifications of future events that we're doing, as well as a replay we send out where we timestamp all of the most important points. So you can click the time, but you can jump right to the point that is most of interest to you. You can also follow us here on the Google Plus page on Facebook, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. But
go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. I'm going to get going. I'm excited. Enough of the notifications. Go to Keeping It Real. Put in your name, email. That's all we ask for. You'll get notified. And like I said tonight, the title is How to Train Your Mind to Get More Deals, or how to get in the right proper mindset. Because we've been having these hangouts and going over skills and all the things you need to do more business, and all the techniques and systems and strategies that you need to be doing. But if you're not executing those and moving forward, there's something holding you back. So the missing link might be you might not have the right mindset or know how to tackle that, and you just may be stuck. And I know new things. It's fearful. I mean, I had a fear of talking in front of people, but I had to get through that. And so I'm doing these Google Hangouts and sharing a mastermind. So I had to get through that. I was stuck, but you got to just crash through this stuff. And Matthew's the guy that can help you do it. I'm going to go over a little about what Matthew's done in the past. Matthew's been training real estate agents for, I think, 21 years. As long as I've been a realtor, I've actually probably known Matthew for 18, 19 years. I've attended his productivity school. He actually created and headed up the productivity school and telephone prospecting for the Matthew Ferry organization. And I was in their one-on-one coaching for like 10, 12 years. And I probably went through 4 to 5 of those prospecting schools and some of their advanced over-the-phone training. And I owe a lot of my success in real estate and what I've been able to do is because of Matthew's training and what he was doing with his father and the mastermind and their whole culture they created. They created a whole culture of, hey, do these systems, the mindset, the skills, all that. But also, when you're involved with people like Matthew, they really promote masterminding with other top agents, role-playing, going over scripts, talking about things you're getting stuck on, all that. So that's why these masterminds, I wanted to give back because so many people have given back to me during my career, and that's why I get really excited about doing these and just sharing and helping other agents. He's also was really good at the advanced sales skills and also the NLP training, which helps you not just to do the scripts and what to say. It was actually how to communicate with people, how to mirror match them, their tonality, how to respond like a real human being instead of just reading a script. So it's you know? So he's a master at that. He's trained over 8,000 agents, either through one-on-one coaching or through group calls. And Matthew really specializes, because he's been a one-on-one coach and has just been helping all these top agents for years, even like Greg Harrelson. He's had him come through some major breakthroughs where he was stuck at like maybe 100 deals and helped him get up over 200. So I'm not sure the exact numbers, but I know it was 400. Okay. Anyhow, so Matthew specializes in helping agents have major breakthroughs in their business, but also in their personal lives too. So let's get going. Matthew, thank you very much for joining us. I'm really excited.
Very, very happy to be here. And you know what happened for me, Jeff, is I was helping all these people to implement the skills that they needed to be able to sell more effectively. and use the scripts and handle objections and be able to pick up the phone, do whatever you need to do to generate business.
Sure.
And I would teach people what to do, and then they wouldn't do it.
Right.
And as a coach, it got really, really cumbersome. And so eventually my training turned to the mindset to try and unlock what's going on here. Why aren't people implementing the techniques that they're learning from a Google Hangout, for example, that they watch of yours? Why aren't they implementing the techniques that they just learned on that Hangout?
So what actually helped you or prompted you or motivated you to transition from like just sales skills and all that into actually really diving deep and wanting to help people with their mindset and have these breakthroughs?
It's two things. The first thing was extreme frustration. So I was being paid thousands and thousands of dollars to help agents implement things like, all right, you want to put a new farm system in place. Great, let's get that going. Then they procrastinate. They don't do it. This week I got distracted. I would be coaching somebody in the process of, all right, let's get your listing system down and put all the things in place to make sure that your listing process is the most efficient possible. Sure. And they're dropping the ball, and they're procrastinating, not following through, and then, oh, this happened, and I couldn't do it, excuses. And just the frustration as a coach of knowing that if they would just do the things that I'm asking them to do, they'd have these extraordinary breakthroughs, but there was something that was stopping them from doing it. That was the first thing. The second thing for me was my own personal experience of just feeling like a loser. Why am I not doing the things that I know? I'm hanging around all these people who are so amazing and effective. I see what they're doing. Why am I not doing it? Wanting to do it, not doing it, wanting to do it, not doing it, and finally saying, there's got to be an answer here. And in 1999, I basically devoted myself to figuring out what is the mindset malfunction that is happening that doesn't let me implement these things or my clients implement these things.
So the fear, and I know that you have, I know what it is, but I know you have a nickname for the mind. Can you share what that is? I think
sure.
It's great.
It was, Jeff, it was probably 1990, 1991 or something like that. I'm the son of a guru, right? Mike Ferry is a real estate guru. And when you're the son of a guru, you basically drink from the fire hose or get out. And, he was just feeding me one thing after another. Listen to this, watch this, go to this seminar, get trained by this person, do this coaching, get this consulting. I mean, when I was young, when I was 21 years old, it was just all on in personal development. I was studying a man named Jose Silva and the Silva mind control method. And Jose was a Mexican guy who lived in Texas, and he was teaching Eastern techniques. Isn't that strange? A Mexican guy from Texas teaching Eastern techniques. But needless to say, he would tell this story about how your mind is like a monkey. And he would say, if you let a monkey loose in your house, it's going to wreck everything. And he says, same thing with your mind. If you let your mind loose in your life, it will wreck and destroy everything. And I thought at the time, I was a partying, crazed fool. And, I thought, my mind is more than a monkey. My mind is like wasted. My mind is a drunk monkey. And from that moment, it stuck. And I started calling my mind the drunk monkey. Then I started teaching it to my clients and my friends. Then in 1993, I started training and telling people about the drunk monkey. It's grammatically incorrect, but it's stuck, and I'm stuck with it. And there we go, the drunk monkey. All the chatter in your head.
All the self-talk and the chatter in your head is a drunk monkey. So what is a top agent mindset? I mean, you've worked with a lot of the top agents, so I mean, what is a top agent mindset, and what's it look like?
Well, I think we'd actually have to start with a top agent lifestyle.
Okay.
Because, top agents, when I hang out with someone like a Karen Bernardi, for example, who has been #1 at Century 21, worldwide many times, right? She kind of goes like this, but I remember being struck with the lifestyle that she led. So, and Jeff, it's similar to you. I'm struck with the lifestyle that you lead as well. You live a top agent lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle that is designed. And it's a lifestyle that includes all the things you want it to include, and real estate is like an engine that drives it. And what I noticed was to get to that lifestyle, you actually had to relate to things differently than a normal agent. And so what I notice a top agent mindset is a mindset that has a level of self-awareness. You're aware of what works and what doesn't work about your mind. You have an awareness of how your mind functions. It's afraid of this, and here's why. It has these three things that it gets afraid of, and then a top agent learns how to deal with those triggers
Mm-hmm.
and get those triggers out so that they can take the action that they want. The top agent is focused on flexibility and being curious rather than this is the way it is and I only do it like this and get out of my way and I can't and that won't. They're not interested in being right. They're interested in being productive. They're interested in being successful, and they realize that that's just an experiment. So they've got a level of detachment that happens. And I think that's a very distinct thing in a top agent mindset is detachment.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And then how does one overcome the fear of like prospecting, following up on leads, calling past clients, and what causes that fear that you've found working with agents?
So we'd have to back up, right? We'd have to start off by saying the drunk monkey is really the source of that fear. The drunk monkey meaning the survival system of your brain. Your brain is just a part of your biology, and your mind is an expression of your brain. And the purpose of your mind, all of that back talk. So right now, Jeff, our viewer is watching the video, but they're also having a conversation with themselves. And that conversation that is going on in the background, is that true? Do I like that? What about me? Oh, you know, there was a time when all of that stuff is actually a system for survival. So its job is to figure out what's good, what's right, what isn't good, what doesn't work, don't do that, definitely do this, reflect upon. It's trying to assess at all times. Judge, assess, evaluate, analyze, categorize, create generalizations, and then move the body in one direction or another, either towards what is pleasurable and positive or away from what is negative and bad. And so the mind can't be listened to like it's your friend. And this is a big problem for agents. Your mind is not your friend. The drunk monkey in your head is not interested in you prospecting. It sees prospecting as a threat. Possibly I'm going to be embarrassed, or I'm going to feel like a fraud. I don't want people to find out that I really actually feel insecure about doing my business. Or I'm going to be rejected. And you know, you need to think that the thinking in our head, Jeff, it's not advanced, it's not evolved. The thinking in our head actually comes from, genetically, comes from our ancestors. So the mind is an expression of your genetics. And your genetics has evolved over time, but the root of our genetics is a humanity that needed to make decisions based on the fact that every decision was a life or death choice. So the drunk monkey is living in this life or death modality, and it wants to make sure that it fits in, and it wants to make sure that you look good. And these things stand in the way of the prospecting. I think I forgot the question. You have to ask me again.
I don't. I'm like, wow.
Matthew, this is really good stuff, man. I'm really digging this. Can you go a little bit deeper on this drunk monkey and specifically how your mind prevents you from higher levels of success and higher levels of achievement? Can you address how your mind prevents that? And then I want to get into how you overcome that. So tell me the why. Let's go into some specific ways to overcome that limiting maybe status quo in someone's life.
Sure. So the drunk monkey's job is to move you away from painful things and move you towards pleasurable things. And for the most part, taking successful action as a real estate agent is counter to the culture that you were raised in. So most people were not raised by successful salespeople. And even then, most successful salespeople didn't bring home their sales mentality into their family and their home. So you were conditioned by your mom with things like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Well, this is a problem. If you're going to call an expired listing, and that expired is relating to you like you are a hostile intruder, and you're just trying to help, you're calling to help, but they're screaming and yelling, the drunk monkey says, wait a second, you're breaking a rule here. You're making them mad. You're pissing them off. You're not going to fit in. This rule about fitting in gets broken. The drunk monkey has this desire to not be embarrassed. And unfortunately, most of the things that you're going to do to become a top agent initially are going to be things you're not good at, you don't feel good about, they're not the way you normally do it, so they feel bad, and you feel embarrassed, and I don't do it right, and I look stupid, and I don't want to say that thing. So the drunk monkey, the issue is not just learn the script. I want you to do that. I want you to learn what to say. But that's not enough. You actually have to be able to then get over the mind's natural aversion to doing something new and different and potentially risky that could be embarrassing. Did that answer?
So how does it completely answers the question? Because most people aren't brought up in the world of making lots and lots and lots of money, or adding lots and lots of value, or picking up the phone and talking to strangers all day long, which you have to do when you just start off. Why don't you tell us maybe some specific strategies to how to overcome that fear, where all your friends and family are here, but you want to be here, or you have trouble picking up the phone to make the calls. How do you get comfortable wanting to do that where you don't feel insecure about it?
Over the last 15 years now, I have developed a mindset methodology. So it's a toolbox that I use to help people get through things quickly. And the number one tool, the cornerstone to all of it, I call the game changer process. And the game changer is to first start with awareness. You have to first be aware of that there is a drunk monkey in your head, that it's not your friend, that it doesn't want you to succeed, that it is concerned with basic things. Don't be embarrassed. Don't put your foot in your mouth. Don't look stupid. Don't get rejected. It is baseline survival. You got to have that awareness. The moment you have that awareness, you then become flexible. Instantly, you're flexible. What makes Jeff a mind-blowing producer is his flexibility, his adaptability. He can be in a situation that isn't working for him. He can become aware of his reactions. What am I doing? Why am I reacting like this? And then he can choose something else. Awareness makes you flexible. Flexibility leads to options. And options are what give you power. So it's only if you have options do you have power. And what most agents experience when it comes to making prospecting calls, calling their past clients in sphere, following up on leads, is they experience a powerlessness. They don't know what to do. Here's the lead card. I'm going to answer some emails instead.
Yeah.
They can't control themselves. They're getting pulled by something. And it is through the awareness of what is pulling you that makes you flexible. You go to call the leads, and then suddenly you want to answer emails, and then you say, wait a second. Flexibility in that moment. I'm not going to let the drunk monkey make me its puppet, and then just that recontextualization statement, I'm not going to be the drunk monkey's puppet. Just that statement alone is so powerful. It instantly gives you new options and behavior. You know what? I'm going to call those people, and I'm going to see what happens. So awareness makes you flexible. It reveals new options, and that gives you power. So I want to give you a technique that I help a lot of people utilize in getting over their fears. Let's specifically just talk about calling back leads. So let's say you got this pile of leads, and you're feeling uncomfortable about calling them back. The thing to do is to cause the drunk monkey to face its worst fears, because the drunk monkey is trying to avoid the fears. The drunk monkey's back here. It's like, oh, I don't want to deal with it. Now, what can we distract you with, right? Oh, look over there. It's constantly trying to distract you with stuff. So what you do is you take the drunk monkey, you grab it, and you force it to look at the worst possible thing that can happen, because the moment you face fear, it disappears. So here's the steps in doing that. Step 1, you have to identify what is the worst possible thing that could happen. And you have to have this conversation with yourself, or you got to have a buddy. I recommend you have a buddy helping you with this stuff. Very, very helpful. So you will say, all right, well, what's the worst possible thing? So Jeff, can we role play? Can you just be the agent for me? Be a relatively.
Well, you want me to? Why don't I be the prospect? You be the agent.
No, I don't want you to be the prospect. We're not going to role play like that, buddy. We're going to role play the process of the worst case scenario. You're an agent. You are procrastinating on calling your leads.
Okay.
And you're not dealing with something. There's some fear underneath that you're not dealing with. Okay? So let's say you call the leads, Jeff. Put yourself in the position of that agent that's afraid. What's the worst possible thing that could happen?
Well, I'm not afraid of calling, but I'm gonna pretend like I'm afraid of calling. So I guess the worst thing that could happen is they could yell and say, "Hey, why are you calling me?" and hang up.
Right. Now, these people are leads. They basically either put their email and phone number into your web form, some kind of system, and said, I want more information,
Sure.
Or they called in off of a sign and you wrote down their information and asked them about it. You were at an open house and they said, sure, we'd love to talk to you more about our real estate needs, and gave you their information. So it's possible that they will have an upset response. So let's say they go, what are you doing calling me, and hang up on me, they're mad, that kind of thing. So what's the worst thing that can happen to you out of that?
To me, nothing. I would just hang up and go, I guess I'm not helping them, and call the next person. And I mean, that's my mindset,
Right, but if it's even anyone, right? Anyone would say, for a moment it would sting. It'd be a momentary sting.
Yeah. I mean, the worst thing that could really happen is they could hang up, get pissed off, and you didn't really know them. They weren't your family. They weren't someone really you knew, so who cares, in my opinion. I'm not sure if I'm role-playing with you, right? I just don't think it's a big deal. You move on, and you call somebody else and you can help. You're only looking for people that you can help, because you really should only be calling people that need your help, and if they want your help, you connect, you talk with them. I mean, even if they get angry, I would just get angry with them. I used to call expired.
Jeff, you are demonstrating a top agent mindset. And a top agent, like yourself, has dealt with the worst case scenario. So you have looked the worst case scenario in the eye. You took a deep breath and said, if that happens, if they hang up on me, can I deal with it? And you've had to take a moment and say, yes, I can deal with it. And then you had to say, what am I committed to? And you said, I'm committed to helping people. I want to do some deals. I want to get out there, be involved. I want to put deals together and be a part of transactions, make some money, help other people fulfill their real estate dreams.
Can I share something with you?
Please.
When I was calling expireds, my mindset was, all right, these people had their home on the market. They probably got stuck with an agent not really telling them the truth about price or whatever, or gave them some crazy marketing plan, this magic marketing plan is going to help them sell. But I really felt in my mind, this was my mindset when I would call expireds, and I used to love calling expireds because that's how I used to do most of my business. 70, 80 listings a year sold from expired listings. And my mindset was, I was the best agent that was going to work the hardest and really care to helping these people. And if I didn't call them, I was doing them a disservice, and I wasn't living up to my fullest potential, as a good person to help other people. So I had the mindset, like, if I don't call, even if they get mad at me, so be it. That person I'm not going to be able to help. But I really owed it to these people to keep following up and calling them, because I didn't want them to get stuck with another agent that wasn't going to be able to help them. So in my mind, I always thought, if I don't do that, I'm really failing as a person and as really wanting to help people.
So how did you develop that? That's a very unique way of approaching the problem. Matthew, can you go a little deeper, or maybe how someone?
I don't know how I did that. I really felt. I mean, I went to all these Mike Ferry things, and all these webinars and these productivity schools, and I really, and I really wanted to, it comes back to keeping it real. And I don't know how I came up with this Keeping It Real series, because I always try to tell the truth, be honest, and let the ball bounce where the bounce, I'm not going to fill anyone with any bullshit. Sorry, guys, I cussed, but any BS or any crap to people. It's like, just tell them the truth of what really is going to take it to sell their home, and if they accept it, great. They're hearing a bunch of other crap from all these people that are like, I'm going to do this and do that and do that, and the agents really know that all those things really probably aren't going to sell their home, but they know that the person wants to hear that to sell their home, and to me, I just couldn't do that. I had to tell the people the truth, and maybe it came off that because I was sincere, and I would just tell the people the truth. And even then they go, well, you really door knock around, that's when I used to door knock around all my listings and tell all the people. And I mean, I was fired up. When I was young, I was fired up. I'd go door knock. I even took my freaking leather shoes and flop it up there. Heck yeah, I door knock. Look at the holes in my leather soles. But I really felt that I was working hard to help these people to sell their home. And if I didn't call them, I was failing as a husband, as a father. I got 10 children. I didn't have 10 children back then, but of just really helping people and being a role model to my parents. I mean, not my parents, my kids, and just everybody around me. I really felt if I didn't do this, I was letting everyone down,
so Matthew,
including a prospect. I don't know. It's just how
did he develop this through affirmations?
Nope.
Did he?
I used to do
his way through affirmations to do this. What are your thoughts on affirmations?
It's not an affirmation process. I'm a huge fan of affirmations. But affirmations are sort of like cotton candy. They are, they're fantastic for a moment, but immediately evaporate and disappear. Affirmations most of the time is like trying to slather some frosting on top of your mud pie. And what you got to do is you got to get underneath there, and you've got to deal with the drunk monkey. So, Jeff would come to these events, and he would be exposed to something called recontextualization. So in the worst case scenario process, you start by saying, what is the worst thing that can happen? Then you really get clear about the worst thing that can happen. Then you say, well, could I deal with that? And then generally you're like, yeah, you know what, I could actually deal with that. Then you say, well, what am I actually committed to? And when you get to the what am I committed to part, that's when you do the thing that Jeff just did with us, which is called recontextualization. So you take this thing that is selfishly motivated, which is I'm calling to get business, and you turn it on its ear. And you say, but what's in it for the other people? What's really going to happen? And you expand out, you broaden your context, and you say, well, listen, if I list their property, I'm going to be honest with them. I'm going to help them get the right price. I'm going to make sure that they are not being taken advantage of by other agents. I'm going to fight for their equity. If they list with me, I have a whole system and a procedure that I'm going to take them through, and that's going to give them so much more confidence and comfort. They're never going to feel like, what's going on and why aren't we doing it? They're not going to be confused like most people are. If they list with me, I'm going to make sure that they have the most incredible experience possible in real estate. So we basically take a situation that is totally selfish, I want the listing to get paid, and we flip it around and we say, well, what's in it for them? And then put all of our focus on that and go into a service-based mindset, which means that I'm unattached to getting the commission, and I become committed to producing the result for them. So I release my attachment to the commission, and I focus all my attention on my commitment to producing a result for them. It's a practice. It's literally something you practice doing over and over and over and over until you become fairly evangelistic, which is what we saw Jeff was doing, right? There was nothing that wasn't something that we had to say, Jeff, read off the script. It just it just came out of him because over and over and over and over and over, he had practiced recontextualizing it, getting out of selfish and getting into selfless.
Yeah. For me, it was never about the commission. Obviously, I got into real estate to make business. You're probably saying, oh, no, it's not about the commission. But I knew never attached to the one commission for that one deal is what I'm talking about. I always had goals and wanted to build my business, of course. You know, that's why I'm in business, right? I've got kids. I'm building a business. I'm, you know, building a future. But it was never about the commission that I was going to earn. It was about helping the people. And I knew that if I help people, then I'm going to get rewarded. But I never, when I went on a listing appointment, I never, if I didn't get the listing, I was okay with it. Because I know I went in, I told the truth, and I was honest about what I was going to do to help them. And if they didn't want my help, that's fine. I knew that I was prospecting every day, too. That, you know that I prospect a certain amount, and if I do these things, you know, I was tracking my numbers and doing all that. I knew it would happen. So the ones that I didn't get, I didn't really care. And some of the times I was happy because if they didn't want the truth, you know, they probably deserve something else.
Matthew, how do you help someone overcome the opiate of information and not execution, where you attend these hangouts, you go to the events, you read the books, you go to the conferences over and over and over, and I use like the word the opiate. It's like a drug. You love it so much, but you have the challenge of actually executing on it. Would you say that the exact same strategy that you shared would help do that by the self-awareness and so on and so forth, or anything you could elaborate on that for us?
That's not how you do that. So the way you do that is by adjusting your environment so that the conditions present in your environment are conducive to the results that you want. So a human being is a pack animal, and it kind of goes with the flow of whatever's happening. So you've got a certain momentum in your life that doesn't include all the things that you learn at the various events you go to and the books you read and the Google Hangouts you watch. So, you know, let's say I go to a weekend event and I get all pumped up. I'm all psyched because I just learned this new for sale by owner system that I'm going to put into place. I'm going to start banging down for sale by owners. I'm going to start making money, right? Bam! I've got all this energy and this enthusiasm and this excitement. Well, you get home, you know, by Tuesday, you don't even remember. It's like, what was I going to something about for sale by owners? I mean, it's gone. And the reason that it's gone is as soon as you get home, the biggest problem that you have is that you're there. And what you've got to do is create an environment where a new you shows up. So you have to create something called structure. So a structure is basically a system, a procedure, a process, or a workflow that has accountability and monitoring laid over the top of it. So for example, let's say I learned this new for sale by owner system. I'm all psyched about it. The first thing that I need to do is I need to create some kind of public awareness that I'm going to do this. So I need to commit to my spouse or commit to my children or commit to my broker. I need to kind of put myself on the hook. Because if I don't do that, the chances of me doing it are not really good. It's sort of like someone saying, I want to quit smoking. The way that you quit smoking, the first step is to tell everyone that you're quitting smoking, because now what you're doing is you're using the drunk monkey against itself. The drunk monkey wants to fit in. The drunk monkey wants to be liked. So if you say you're going to do something and you make it public, the pressure for the drunk monkey to operate is very high. The other thing that you've got to do is you have to look and see what systems can I put in place? What procedures can I put in place that I'm not in control of, that happen whether I want them to or not? Then you've got to put some monitoring in place so that the people around you that you told you were going to do it, the people around you can see whether you're doing it or not. And then finally, the last thing that you need to do is put some kind of accountability structure into place. Now, some people move towards pleasure and other people move away from pain. And if you move towards pleasure, your accountability structure will likely be reward-based. So you say, all right, here's what I'm going to do, Jeff. Every day, I'm going to mail 5 of these things. I'm going to door knock on 3 for sale by owners, and then at night I'm going to follow up on 5 for sale by owners that I'm following up on. That's my daily regime. And every time I complete 7 days I'm going to give myself this reward, but I want you to be my accountability buddy. I'm going to tell you that I'm doing it or not, and we're going to dialogue about it. That's towards pleasure. If you're away from pain, it's more like this. Jeff, I'm sending you 5 checks for $100, and I've made those checks out to my ex-girlfriend. And I'm sending them with envelopes already filled out, ready to go. And any day that I don't do my mailer, my door knock, and my phone call, I want you to just take one of the envelopes that I sent you all ready to go, and I just want you to put it in the mail and let it get mailed off. So now suddenly the possibility of me sending my ex-girlfriend $100 is on the line if I don't communicate with you, and I make it effortless for you to administer the pain if I don't do it.
Matthew, there has to be some test. Do you know how to judge if someone's pain avoidance or pleasure seeking?
Absolutely.
So you can align the reward mechanisms accordingly?
Yes, you've got to know. So there's basically 2 questions you have to ask yourself. So you start off with your goal. So let's do it with Jeff and see if Jeff is towards pleasure or away from pain, okay? So
all right.
Jeff, what is your, I don't know what you want to share, but what is your big goal?
I don't.
Something selfish, Jeff, something that is really meaningful to you, okay?
Real goal? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not. Hey, let's do this.
Welcome back to the conversation.
All right, I know. I'm trying to think of something like a big goal, selfish. I don't know. I'm usually trying to give to my family, so.
I understand that, but let's just take Real Geeks for a second, because that's one of your businesses that you own. So
sure.
let's say let's say that the goal is to double the number of people that you are serving in that company.
Sure. Okay.
What period of time?
What period? I want to do it within the next year.
So within the next year, we're going to double the number of people that
Sure.
we're serving with the Real Geeks company. Okay.
Got it.
So what's important to you about doubling the number of people that you're serving in that company? What's important to you about it?
What's important? I mean, because I want to accomplish the goal of building a big business and helping more people. And then, you know, the more agents, actually, because the reason why I started Real Geeks was to run my own business, you know, to get, you know, for my own real estate, because I couldn't find what I was really looking for that had all the essentials. I don't want to go through that. But then other agents wanted it, and then I really have a desire to help other agents because I've been screwed over by other vendors. So really, that really motivates me to is to help other agents succeed online. So that's my main goal. I want to be able to help more. That's why I'm doing these hangouts. It's because I'm a realtor. I've been screwed over, and I think a lot of people feed them full of bullshit, and they know us agents will almost buy anything if they think it's gonna help them blow up their business, right? I mean, come on. And people take advantage of that. And then my sales guys, I could blow it up even more, but I got to make sure that they educate these people and they understand what is involved. Just getting a Real Geeks website, you're not just going to blow up your business. You got to drive traffic to it, and then you got to follow up on the leads. So my salespeople have to explain that and let them know. I don't want just people buy. Here's the deal. To me, this is important. Somebody asked me one time, how do you feel when somebody just gets a Real Geeks website and they're not using it and not doing it to build their business? I said, they shouldn't have it. What do you mean, how's it feel? It bums me out, because my main goal is to help other agents do more business. I live a good lifestyle, and I support 10 kids and send them through private school. I want other agents to be able to do that or whatever else they want to do, and I want to help them succeed. So I don't know. Did that help? I don't know.
It does, but I want to take it one step deeper, okay?
Okay.
So how is helping other agents succeed and building a big business and achieving your goals important to you? How's that important to you? Why do it?
I like helping people. It just makes me feel good.
Right. You know? So Frank, is he moving towards pleasure or away from pain?
Pleasure, 100%. I'm catching on.
Completely moving towards pleasure. Which, by the away is actually kind of rare, just so you know. Most people move away from pain.
Yeah, because if you told me I wasn't going to hit a goal and I have to give you $1,000 check, I'd say, yeah, okay, no big deal, because that's not going to motivate me paying you $1,000. It's like I make a lot of money anyway, so if I don't have to do this, I'll give you $1,000. I mean, I'll write the check.
Here's what most people don't know, Frank. They don't realize that they're towards pleasure or away from pain. So what Jeff just said right there is so key. A towards pleasure person can deal with a tremendous amount of pain and not act at all. So they can be failing, falling down, doing nothing, business is falling around, they're not paying their bills, and they're just dabbling in, taking in these little pleasurable things that keep them going even though their life is falling apart all around them. It's a disaster. If you understand this about yourself, you can do something about it. The towards the away from pain people are the exact opposite. Typically, most successful people are away from pain. Most of them, not all, most are away from pain. And that's because they can't stand to be uncomfortable. They can't stand the feeling of things not working. It bugs them, it drives them crazy, and drives them into action. So if you know you're moving away from pain, you set up pain everywhere, and you box yourself in so you can actually do the things that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing though, I don't know, because I always don't. Here's the one thing. One of the reasons why I work so hard is I always want to be able to have money to be able to do what I want, and I don't want to be stuck and not be able to do what I want. So is that a pain and pleasure? It's kind of
Everybody has both. Everyone has both, Jeff, but it really comes down to what is your dominant?
Sure.
Yours is pleasure.
Okay. I love helping people, whatever. I love succeeding, too.
What other tips, Matthew, can you give us? So we talked about the overcoming the fear of calling somebody, the shift of I want the commission check instead of I want to help that person, the opiate of information and not acting on it. Are there other situations that you find agents or people in that are their mind is holding them back, that you have some strategies to help them break through to move forward on? Or if anyone, by the way, has a question for Matthew, maybe you're stuck in something, feel free to ask it in the Q&A here on the right, and we'll get it asked for Matthew here during the event.
Great. Well, let me prime the pump. I think one of the places where people really get stuck is they get frustrated with their clients. They get frustrated with other agents. They'll be in they'll have a listing, and they're constantly bagging on their sellers. Those people, and they don't get it, and then they can't figure out why people aren't cooperative. Or it's the other way around. The buyer calls, and you pick up your phone, and you see their caller ID, and you're like, oh, I don't want to talk to them right now, or whatever that is. There's some aversion to people, and what you've got to learn is this little recontextualization, and I'd love for people to write it down, and that is that there are no jerks in the world until you show up. There are no jerks in the world until you show up. It's how you label people. It's what you say about a person that makes them what they are for you. Nobody is anything until you show up. The moment you show up and start saying, they're this and they're that and they're this, it then gives you the experience. So the experience you're having of a person has nothing to do with their behavior. It has everything to do with what you say about their behavior. And if you aren't aware of this, you'll say all kinds of stuff because your mom said it and your dad said it. And your friends, they all say, oh, people are blah, 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 blah. So now you're walking around, oh, people are blah, 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 blah. Then somebody acts in that way and you go, yeah, see, everyone, blah, 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 blah. Right? You're practiced, you're habitual. And you've got to learn how to go into an awareness, wake yourself up so you can see the wacky stuff that comes out of your mouth, because what is coming out of your mouth is trapping you. You're building a prison with your words.
Matthew, I'd love for you to shadow me around and just help me develop self-awareness of all my behavior throughout the day, of saying, oh, that's the drunk monkey, or that's happening.
That would
How
be
does
great.
how does someone go about truly building self-awareness? Because I was reading an article in Forbes actually. If you actually Google, I just did it, Forbes self-awareness. They study all these successful people and why they are successful, all these different industries and professions and sports and whatnot, and it is self-awareness of that ability. Any tips you can give us on really building that and understanding that at any deeper level with the time we have left? And again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them here on the right for Matthew.
Well, I think that one of the most powerful tools for self-awareness is contemplation / meditation or prayer. And what I recommend is that you do at least 1 minute of meditation every single day. And my recommended procedure is very simple: that you just close your eyes and you just kind of put yourself in a normal straight position, and you focus your eyes right here on your pineal gland. So there's a gland right here. And when you put your attention on it, it releases chemicals into your body that put you into a very relaxed state, and it heightens your self-awareness. So all you do is you close your eyes, you put your eyes right up here, you breathe in through your nose, and as you're breathing in, you're focused right here, and then you hold your breath, and you do that 3 times. That's it. So you just holding your breath, focusing right there, until you can't hold your breath anymore, and then you blow out through the nose. Then you breathe in again. You're holding your breath. You're focusing right there. There's something about that, Frank, that begins to open you up to seeing yourself. So you move into the position of the witness. Here you were like this. Here's your awareness, and here's the drunk monkey and its insanity. You can't see it, it's too close. But as you do that meditation / prayer each day, you inch yourself away from it. And slowly but surely, you start to see the insanity of the drunk monkey. So that's one technique. Another technique, of course, is to just expose yourself to those awarenesses. So if people haven't read my book, Creating Sales Velocity, Creating Sales Velocity is basically a recontextualization process for real estate agents. And if you haven't listened to my audio program called Ridiculous Bliss, you can download that off of iTunes, and that also helps you to recontextualize or to have a whole new awareness about what the drunk monkey is doing.
What are your thoughts on journaling for self-awareness as well, like journaling in the morning?
But here's what I've noticed with journaling is that that it takes tremendous discipline, and you've got to typically set up a structure for it. So typically, you have to journal and then send it to someone, typically, in order to continue doing it. Unless that's just sort of a natural part of the way that you process, then absolutely. But for example, if you wanted me to journal every single day, I'm not sure I could keep it up unless I created an ironclad structure to modify my behavior to do that. A lot of people, when they journal, I've done this in trainings for people. I've said, okay, this week we're going to journal every day the insanity of the drunk monkey. By day 3, they're so sick to their stomach they want to puke all day, every day, because they see how ravaging the drunk monkey is to their business and their life, and how it is making up stories and pretending that it's psychic and pretending it knows how people are going to operate. It is in this constant state of hallucinating that it knows how the world is going to respond and react. And when you begin to see that you basically make things up all day, every day, about yourself, about people, about the situation, when you really see it, it is terrible. And generally, the journaling stops in that moment because it's just too painful.
Yeah, I believe it. I got more questions, Jeff. Can I keep going?
Yeah, keep going, man.
Okay. Matthew, what I would like to know, and again, if anyone here has any questions, let us know. But our company's based out of Omaha, Nebraska, and everything's kind of just a very steady, even keel out there, right? How do you break someone through complacency of them making the same amount of money as all their friends and peers, and they're just happy right there, but you know they have so much more potential, but maybe they're afraid of breaking out of that complacency of where they're at. Anything you can share with us on that?
Yeah, it is. It's seriously problematic. The possibility of you making dramatically more than all the people around you is minimized by the drunk monkey's incessant fear that you'll lose your friends if you become successful. And there's actually a lot of merit. The drunk monkey in that particular conversation is fairly dead on. That when you start doing really, really, really well, the shift in your mindset necessary to do well makes a lot of the people around you no longer click for you. And you do end up separating from a lot of the people that you're currently comfortable with. So it really begins, Frank, with a commitment. One must make a commitment, and if you have somebody who you're trying to help to do more, you've got to work through first of all, what are you committed to? And then second of all, what are all of the really honest fears that you have about what will happen if you succeed? And then you've got to deal with the worst case scenario. And then you've got to do the releasing attachment exercise. And you've got to do the failure into fortune formula. Then there's all these different little systems that I use.
So it's really negative thinking. If you're heard like the ideas of negative thinking in some way.
It's not negative thinking because it's actually survival thinking. So it's actually really positive. It's positive for me to avoid things that are uncomfortable. The only problem is these days, pretty much the only thing that is going to kill someone like you or I is what we put in our mouth. Cancer and heart attack. That kills almost everybody. But we spend all of our time avoiding all the other potentially painful, harmful things that will almost never exist, but we fantasize because the drunk monkey thinks that it's psychic and that it can predict the future.
Barry asked, what was the name of the book that you mentioned, Matthew?
I mentioned the book Creating Sales Velocity.
And Jonathan Zabrocki wants to know if you have a program to follow him around 24 hours a day for 7 days a week.
Jonathan, no, I do not have a program like that. But if you want to know more about the programs that I do for realtors on mindset, go to topagentmindset.com and put your email in there, and then I'll just keep you up to date on stuff that I'm doing. About once a quarter or so, I try to do something to help all my realtor friends.
Yeah, and hey, Matthew, can you repeat the download, the other one from iTunes?
Sure, that one is called Ridiculous Bliss. That one's not real estate specific. That one is, I've spent a lot of time coaching CEOs and Wall Street bigwigs on how to live a more peaceful, balanced life. And the result of that is my work called Ridiculous Bliss. Highly recommended. It will very much help you to get the drunk monkey under control and get you back into a very productive state.
Nice. All right, Frank, what other questions you got coming up, or do you have?
I just have some off the top of my head because I really enjoyed the answers. I'm just very inquisitive on this. I'm going to throw something from right field. How would you define happiness, Matthew? When you probably deal with a lot of happiness questions with people. How do you become happy?
That it's the natural state when you are in a state of no resistance. So when you are not resisting anything, you're in a happy state.
What do you mean by not resisting anything?
Well,
there's no fear, there's no chaos?
No, it's more like this. The drunk monkey actually thinks that it is the preeminent authority on all things. So the drunk monkey will tell you that shouldn't be like that, and he shouldn't say that. And you know what? When I was a kid, these things happened to me, and that was bad, and I don't like that. These are all things that you resist. Whatever you resist will create anxiety, and it will also persist. So if I resist something, it stays in place. If I accept it, it will transform. If I resist it, it doesn't move. If I'm able to accept it, it transforms. So the real game that I play with people is going into a non-resistant state where you basically go into a state of total and complete acceptance of all people in all situations at all times, including yourself. And when you can accept all people, all situations at all times, including yourself, you are profoundly happy for no reason whatsoever. And when you go and do a listing presentation and you're in that state, you don't care if you get it, you'd like to have it, you just want to help, you're loving your life, it makes no difference if they say yes or no, bam, that's when you get deals, when you're not attached to the outcome. Happiness is very productive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
All right. Do you have any questions coming through here, Frank? Or
no questions here. We got a lot of different viewers. It's a softer topic. It's not how to use this system or how do you do that.
Yeah. It's
okay.
Probably It's kind of a touchy situation too, about the mind and self-awareness. I mean, when he threw me on the spot, I was like, oh yeah.
It's
oh my God, and this is live, and people are going to view this. Oh my God, all the defense mechanisms started popping up in my head, like, oh really? How am I going to get out of this? Right?
No, it's good. I think probably if I could share just for whatever it's worth, I have been getting up much earlier, and for the past months, I have been spending the mornings thinking about what are the most important possible things I can do today and what's not important. And I spend a good half hour every morning just reflecting on that at the gym, relaxing after the workout. And then on top of that, I also think about what you were saying. I also think about is, am I happy? Am I really happy? I reflect on those things. And I've been doing really everything I possibly can to develop that level of self-awareness, and it's work. It is a lot of work to really think about why you feel a certain way that it is that you do. I mean, Matthew, do you recommend people sit down and actually think about these things and really reflect on why they have that self-awareness or to build it?
It's more like this. What am I committed to? What do I want? What do I want my life to be? We don't even give ourselves an opportunity to think about those things. When I do my weekend workshops, we spend a tremendous amount of time just writing down everything that we want our lives to be. How do I want to experience my relationships? How do I want to experience my business? What is the perfect client for me? What is my dream client? We don't give ourselves time to say, here's how I want it all to be. The moment you do that, you put a stake in the ground and say, this is what I want. Well, now what comes up is all the things that are not that. So the moment I say, I want clients that are like this, 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 and this, all of a sudden I see none of my clients are like that. Now I have to confront the fact that I'm unwilling to ask questions that cause people to go away. I'm unwilling to say, no, I'm sorry, I don't serve your type of client. I have a friend who helps people like that. I have to confront my insecurities. What if I give them up and I don't have any more deals? So I highly recommend a tremendous amount of self-reflection. But Frank, I recommend more than anything else that your initial sort of introspection is about, what do I want? What do I want my life to be? What do I want my real estate business to be?
Yeah. Well, that's been very good. I thoroughly enjoyed the session here, Matthew. I want to say thank you for providing all this stuff. This stuff is really what makes me think about life and the human condition. Much more about how to do that one technical detail or so on and so forth. So this has been very good. I want to say thank you very much for being on the event with us. And Jeff, let's go ahead and wrap it up. What would you like to say here to end
I
this?
just want to I want to thank Matthew. I just can't thank him enough. I mean, I think this is great. I mean, learning the scripts and learning this and learning this system and all that, that's great. But if you don't have the right mindset, you're just never going to take it to the next level. And I think we're all doing those things and learning those things because we do want to take our business or our life or whatever, our relationships to the next level. And if you don't become aware of who you are and what you're doing every day, and if you're just going through life wherever the wind's blowing you or whatever, you're never going to have what you want. You're just letting life happen to you. You got to create your life by design. And if you go through a lot of this stuff that Matthew's talking about, you will have a better life. And it also goes back to that, I think I said this last time. discipline equals freedom. You said, hey, it doesn't come easy. I was thinking about that when you're doing that. It's like going to the gym. You go to the gym and become strong and think clear and work on our body, and you work on that and your health, but if you're not working on becoming aware and the mindset and all this stuff, you're just never going to take it to the next level. And it takes discipline, but like I said before, if you're disciplined to do what you're supposed to do when you do it, you're going to have way more freedom in your life. You're going to have more money. You're going to have more time. You're not going to be working 24/7 because you worked when you were supposed to instead of like checking those emails and doing all that avoidance stuff. The drunk monkey's jumping in because the drunk monkey, like he said, is killing you. And then now if you're disciplined, you're going to make more money. You're going to stay on a schedule. You're just going to be way better off. And I know that's simple, but discipline does equal freedom. And no matter what you're doing, if you're doing a sport, it takes a little bit of discipline. But like I said, a little bit of discipline creates a huge amount of freedom in your life. It really does. And I think we all want more freedom, and we all want to, just go to the next level. And I know I'm just babbling on again, but this stuff just really excites me. And I want to really thank Matthew. He's agreed to come on in the first quarter sometime next year. We're going to dive in a little bit more into not scripts and stuff, but we will do some role play and objections and stuff, but what is the mindset needed to be able to do that? And part of it is you got to practice, and you got to have the right mindset to practice and do all that stuff.
I'll role play with you, buddy. Jeff, I'll role play with you. I'll say some crazy stuff.
Oh, I know you will. And
we'll dissect the mindset.
Yeah, I want to dissect the mindset of all the crazy stuff you're going. How do you get that mindset to be able to say this stuff? And it's all about being honest at the end of the day. But a lot of people holds them back. They're afraid of offending the people or they have the fear of that, right? So we need to go over that. So thanks for joining. You can follow us on the Real Geeks Facebook. You can go to Keeping It Real to get the opt-in to get these, to get the replay. And I think in 2 weeks we're going to be having Bill Jenkins back on. And we're going to be going over, role play scripts and stuff like that. And then in December 11th, we're probably going to have our last one of the year because we're going to take a few weeks off. And that one's going to be with Buddy Blake on how to convert more seller leads using the home property valuation tools that everybody's got now. All right, so hey guys, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.
See you, everybody.
Bye now.